to the real room. Welcome to the real room. Welcome to the real room. Thank y'all so much for joining us. I'm really excited about this. If you're joining us for the first, can't hear me? Maybe it's your technology. You talk. Let me see if I can hear you. It might be you. See, I got the real AirPods, so it's my technology works. I'm so excited about this topic, y'all. If you know somebody who could really benefit from this, make sure that you tag them so that they can join us. Um, while we wait for Pastor Platts to get his connection together.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
So it was you or me?
It was you.
How? I didn't even.
But see, I have the real AirPods. Maybe
those two. Hold on, where they at?
Maybe that's the problem. Why you don't ever use them?
Because they keep falling out my ears. So
you might not be putting them in. Right?
Oh well, I don't care.
Okay. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to the Real Room. My name is Colanda.
This is Stanley.
And we're talking about, is it open rebuke or is it open shame? And I there was something
though.
That would be fun. But then I don't know. I don't think so. I don't have.
You can if you have it.
I can share. I can share screens, but I don't have it pulled up, so it would take me a minute.
I only can share a screen. Nah, because I'm scared what's gonna pop up on my.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. Not nothing bad, y'all, but just a lot of information.
Sending each other.
Just private information, projects, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what.
But I'm happy that we're talking about this because I feel like this is the same week that there's the video that's going viral. If you have not seen it, I put it in the stories in the real room today, in preparation for the show. Where there is a gentleman, I guess he was just supposed to give words of encouragement, which I guess is probably like a 5-minute mini sermon thing. And apparently he preached, and the person who was actually invited to preach, like openly rebuked him about it and said, I drove 50 minutes because I was on assignment. I came here. I'm not going to come behind you after you done did all that. Mm-hmm. And the people just sat around and watched and heard what he had to say. And then this is the same week where there is like a viral post going around about a young lady who was pregnant, and she got pregnant out of wedlock. And her punishment was that she had to sit in the back row of the church. And nobody from, what'd you say, Sam?
They still doing that?
I didn't know that was a thing. And nobody from the church was able to go to her or was allowed to go to her baby shower. So then once they picked a date for her, she had to go publicly before the church, talk about her, I guess, ask for forgiveness or whatever. And I think she couldn't serve in ministry for a year after that. I don't know how recent it was, but it's going pretty viral. I do remember growing up, there was our organist. I might be saying too much, but he got somebody pregnant. I remember him getting up before the church and asking for forgiveness because he had gotten somebody pregnant. And I think they sat him down too. And then I also remember another lady who she was serving a leadership position, but because she married, I guess they was like trying to say because she was unequally yoked, she married somebody who was not saved. They sat her down for a long time.
Because she married somebody that wasn't saved.
Well, they was unequally yoked somehow.
But if he was saved and cheating on her, that's fine.
I thought about it like that.
Wow.
That's definitely problematic. Never thought about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Um, yeah, I've honestly, well, in the case of the pastor rebuking the young man that was up and took up his time, believe it or not, I actually agree with the pastor.
Really?
I actually agree with the pastor. I don't know the whole story. I don't know what it all entails and who shot John and all of that, but I actually agree with the pastor in this particular situation. Yeah, I'm agreeing with the pastor on this one. And that's just me, and I think because when it we live more now in a more sensitive um day. So everybody's easily offended by things. If you talk about this community, they get offended. If you talk about this race, they get offended. If you talk about that person with that disability, certain jokes you can't say anymore, certain sermons you can't really preach anymore because people are like, I feel offended. I feel offended. You got to monitor everything. But I think that the Bible does tell us that open rebuke is better than secret love. So I don't think the pastor was wrong. I mean, I don't know all that happened, but I'm glad that I don't know why we don't feel like pastors don't have a right if these people are pastors and leaders and I don't even and I from what I heard the guy was a guest preacher
Yeah.
for that service. But even in that level, if this is somebody that you respect, and as long as they sharing wisdom, I don't really see a problem. This is just me personally. I don't see a problem with what he said and really how he handled it because sometimes you have to do that just in case somebody else decide they want to get up and do something like that. They know, hey, okay, this joker don't play. You
But
know,
what do you think it would have been more appropriate if it was the pastor versus like the special guest?
I've seen it honestly growing up in church, and I've been in church all my life. I've seen it. I've seen that before, so that's not foreign to me. Where now, granted, if you're a guest, now I will say this: if you are a guest in somebody else's church, then allow that pastor to correct their members. And that's something that a lot of people need to learn, unless the pastor is giving you permission to set order or whatever. But if you are a guest and you are traveling and you're invited to speak at a ministry, it is not your job to rebuke the members of that church. That's the pastor's job. You're a guest. So I will say that. Now, in that case, I do think that he was wrong. If he was the guest, he should allow the pastor to deal with that. Now, could he have got permission from the pastor to say what he said? Absolutely. And if the pastor
Yeah.
okayed it, then so be it.
I guess so. Like, are there any instances where it is better to not openly rebuke somebody? I mean, because it like he apologized. And, like if you listen to the video, he says, "I apologize." Now, maybe it wasn't
Who apologized?
um the man who was standing at the pulpit. Maybe he wasn't genuine or whatever, but he said I apologize or something like that. And
I
they
feel
said
like
like the man kept going.
because I've been in. You know what? We gonna keep it real. This is the real one. I've been in settings where I've been invited to speak, and people have asked me and said, "Hey, can you come to this service? This and that and the other." And I don't think people really understand, as people that are in ministry and that minister, how draining it is for us to sit through all of that stuff y'all got going on the program. We got to sit
Yeah.
through dances. We got to sit through step teams. We got to sit through presentations. We got to sit through offerings. We got to sit through announcements. We got to sit through all these selections from the choir. We got to sit through, all these different, intercessory prayer. It's a lot that we already got to sit through and deal
Yeah.
with. And we're trying to stay focused. We're trying to keep our mind. And then when you got an MC that's getting up and he's shouting to people or she's shouting to people and want to prophesy and all of that and prolonging the service. By the time the preacher get up to preach, the people are exhausted and they don't want to hear nothing you got to say. And so I've been in settings like that, and it is I don't think people really understand how draining it is on the preacher because we got to come back on all of that and try to give a message. But then when we don't give it to the best of our ability, you'll go run. Oh, he can't preach. Well, look at all the stuff you piled on top of them before they got up there.
Yeah.
What these people tell you to do on the program and sit down.
Sit
It's just
down.
that simple. Just sit down. If you're up there to do intercessory prayer, intercede for the service, sit down. If you're up there to make announcements, make your announcements, sit down.
I guess sometimes people think like, especially if it's a special service and we've invited a special guest, then we do want to do like all of the things on the program. But I have wondered about that before, like growing up and we having convocations and stuff like that. Like how to, like, are we giving the special guest preachers a heads up that, hey, it's Women's Night. It's going to be a lot of presentations tonight. We're going to license some missionaries. You know, like, are we prepping people that it's going to be a long night?
So I think people are aware, especially when you go in certain denominations. Because I remember growing up, you know, when we used to go to like state convocations, we didn't get out like 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. So I remember that. So my thing of it is like, hey, you know, but nowadays time has evolved. People not sitting in services that long no more.
No.
Like I said, it is not fair to the preacher. And this is another thing I don't feel like you should do. Like when you got an inspirational speaker, I get it. You want to give people, if you want to give people opportunity, invite them to your church and let them come preach. You ain't got to get them 15 minutes right before the preach. That's too much. I call them type of things time fillers. Is that really necessary? You know, so I don't
just to say that somebody preached that convocation when it was just a
15 minutes. All it is you just want to give some, and I'm not knocking that, but if you really want to give somebody an opportunity, either give them the main night and let them preach, or invite them to your local church and let them minister. But if it's going to be something that's going to, I'm telling y'all, I have been in settings like that, and you got to exhaust yourself and get up there and preach, and you are drained before you can get to the scripture because you had to sit through all that stuff. Man, people ain't getting, man, you got some services now, preachers don't get up to 10 o'clock, and church started at 7. 10 o'clock, we should be walking out. We should have been home at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, especially if it's like after I've been diligent in preparing, like the Lord, I know this is a word from the Lord. I'm ready to give it, and then I have to wait hours before it's opportunity. And then you watch them sometimes, and then they really try to preserve their energy. So maybe they don't even really participate in praise and worship that much because they're trying to preserve their energy. But you're right. By the time they get up, the saints walking out.
They walking out. Then we got the, Then you got the MC. They just got to prove everything to people. Got to get up there and preach and just MC. Your job is to just keep the flow of the service going. You up there? Oh, I wish I had that. That ain't what you there for. And then by the time the preacher get up, people fall asleep. They tired. They don't want to hear nothing because they done shouted. Like we need to be more considerate. Even musicians, they'll push the service in the direction they wanted to get into, and then when the preacher get up, we got to get a musician on this show so I can tell them off. They can go back and tell the other musician friends. Start a little beef.
So you want to tell them off?
I tell them off. But in that particular case, I agree with the pastor or the guest speaker about that. I feel like for it to be to that point, it had to be out of control. That pastor probably was fed up at that point. Like you say, he drove 50 minutes to come and preach, and you got to sit through all of that. You was on program to do this, and you done took up all of their time.
And he's like, and the people leaving.
People leaving. That tells you right there, that was a problem. Because when people start leaving, that means y'all been in there too long.
So either it's like, well, I done got what I needed, so I don't even need to hear the person, or I'm tired of this.
But that wasn't and that's the thing, that was not your job. I wish we really, as church, y'all, shameless plug, September 23rd, y'all young preachers better come because we talk about this kind of stuff. But I really wish as preachers, especially of my generation and younger, we really got to have respect for each other. We're so busy trying to throw our gifts off on each other and prove
and compete
and pray who can shift the service. It's not about that. So we got to have more respect for one another. And we feel like just because God used you in a hot minute, that don't necessarily mean that he's going to always use you in that same level. So we got to do better jobs at that. And like I said, I agree with that evangelist. Could he have said it behind closed doors? Yeah. But I mean, that man was fed up.
Yeah.
It was in the heat of the moment. Come on. My former pastor and anybody that grew up at my home church, my church under the late great Bishop C.D. Kinsey, I'm telling you, I have seen him get up and rebuke people while we was taping for television broadcast. Seriously. So I've seen it happen. I've seen him sat the choir down in the middle of the song because he didn't want to hear that. So it back in the day, they did it. Was that considered abuse? I don't think so. I mean, personally, but there are times where you have to have order. You got to set order. You can't let people be wild and running rampant like that. That ain't
Now
what
you
God wants.
so give us some Bible. I know you gave us the scripture about said open rebuke is better than secret love. Did Jesus ever openly rebuke somebody? Like I know he rebuked
Absolutely.
Peter.
Mm-hmm. He rebuked Peter.
But is it like what's the difference? Or is there a difference?
I don't
Because
think it
Jesus
is a difference. I don't think
so
it's a difference.
because Jesus openly rebuked, that really gives us like the permission or to
I,
also do the same.
I will say this: if you're going to, you have to be, you have to have a life of a certain level of integrity to rebuke. I will say this. Now you can't rebuke nobody, and you around here, you still doing what you want to do. You still
Right.
going
Right.
out partying, horn around, this and that and the other, and want to tell people how to live. No, you can't do that. If you're
Right.
going to rebuke, you need to be able to at least be a mentor or a model for what you rebuke. If you're going to rebuke,
Yeah.
be an example. Is that my cousin? Sure
Yeah.
is. I ain't gonna call his family name right there.
Oh, don't do him like that.
But
He trying
anyway,
to be professional.
but yeah, you can't be like that. Now if you're going, but I do believe in rebuke because even the Bible says, "Whom the Lord loveth, he chastens, he chastises." So the Bible talks about the rod of correction. That don't necessarily mean beating people, but you have to correct people, and it's so crazy when it comes to church. We get so sensitive about criticism and rebuke, but we'll take rebuke from our boss at our job.
We will take abuse from our
Oh,
boss
we
at our
will.
job.
Oh, we will, because we want that check every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll take abuse from even if we're in relationships. You
Yep.
really love that person, and that person we've seen it. They'll take verbal abuse from them. But the minute it's the church gives constructive criticism, oh, they trying to tell me how to live my life. This abuse. You don't stand up to abuse at your job. You don't call HR on your boss. Just saying.
It's got to be
So
the same
yeah,
standard.
you got to be a standard. So in the Bible, even Peter was the chief of the apostles, and Paul rebuked him one time because Paul noticed that when Peter was around the Gentiles, he'll eat what the Gentiles eat. Then when Peter got around the Jews, he'll start acting like the Jews and start eating what the Jews eat. So one day Paul called him to the carpet in front of everybody. How you sitting up here acting one way around this person, acting another way around the other person? Call him to the carpet right in front of everybody. It happens. So
How can you correct someone in the church when they claim to know the word?
you can still correct it, because if you know the word, and you can still correct them, because if they know the word, then they know that your correction is in order. You correct them with the word. That's how we rebuke people. We correct them with the word. I think when we hear the word rebuke, the word rebuke is really just correction.
And the man ain't use no. So the man in the video ain't use no scriptures. I think. I don't really.
We got to really go back and listen to it. But the Bible, if you really look, the Bible is a rebuke. The scriptures are. That's why
Yes,
the Bible says that all scripture is given unto men, and it's profitable for doctrine, correction, instruction.
Reproof.
Reproof is to rebuke. Correction. That's a level of rebuke. So yeah, I think that we're looking at it now and making a big deal about it. I guarantee if that man would have said that 20, 30 years ago, that would have been no problem. But because now everybody's so conscious of feelings and sensitive and this and that and the other, when somebody says something then and we don't like it, then all of a sudden we accuse them of hatred or abuse or this and that and the other. Now, I've heard hate talk before, and I've heard abuse talk before, but I've also heard rebuke from a form of love. It's just like a parent, Our parents rebuked us when we were kids, and we took it and we applied it to our life, and we moved on. So we got to be open to that. Stop being so easily offended. That's the problem with this generation. Everybody's easily offended.
And offense is a choice.
Exactly.
You choose to be offended. Yeah, I think my only problem with the video is when the man did apologize, and I don't know if he was sincere. The guy kept going. I think I would have like,
It was fed up.
yeah, I think I would have like stepped back a moment and say, I accept your apology, but this is a teaching moment. I think I would have changed my tone, but I could tell he was upset. So let me ask you this, because this happens in Jacksonville, Florida. When I say this, y'all gonna know exactly probably who I'm talking about. There are leaders who, in my opinion, try to go to the extreme and shame you. I've been in churches. I've been in a church in Jacksonville, Florida. I was there for a special event. I was visiting with a friend, and Pastor told, "You supposed to be preaching your message." And he stopped in the middle of his message to ask us to wake up an adult who was asleep in front of me, who was like asleep in the
I
row
know
in
the
front
church
of
you're
me.
talking about. That's why I don't go to that church.
So that's what I'm saying. Is that rebuke or shame?
I think that's shame because you don't know. Just preach. If you're that easily distracted because somebody is asleep while you're preaching, then that just tells me what your focus is on. It's on you getting attention.
Or
Not
telling people to get off their phones,
yeah.
stop talking.
You don't if you that's why I love old school preachers. If you really listen to the old school preachers, they don't be complaining about sound. They don't complain about stuff like little petty stuff. They preach on top of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If you're true to your craft, it don't matter what. I've been in places. I've been in places people fell asleep while I was preaching. That didn't stop me from preaching. So I'm not gonna embarrass anybody just to flex my muscles and show how great I am. That level is abuse. And I know what church you're talking about because I went to a funeral at that church when I was a teenager. And I didn't like how that particular person was handling people at the funeral. And he said a lot of stuff that I totally was like, whoa. And I was 16, 17 years old, and I knew then I was like, oh, heck no. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
But
I mean,
that is no, stop. You don't have to shame people to do that. I
he
think that's
was,
kind of insecurity.
yeah, he was like, wake up, because this word I'm giving may be exactly what she need. And so then, like, whatever service it was, it's like we had to leave early out of it to go set up for an event. And when he called that person out, I was like, okay, so is he gonna call us out? So I turned to my friend and I said, girl, if your pastor call me out because we have to walk out this service, we
Uh-huh.
just gonna be going back and forth.
Right.
And I think the fact that I even have to like, I had to like prepare myself, like, gosh, he may call me out for walking out of church, even though I'm a visitor. Like, it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
and who knows, that lady may have been a visitor. Um,
Yeah, you don't know
yeah,
like certain things like that. That's abuse because it's like I said, it's like you're trying to flex your muscles in front of people. That's to me, that's just a sign of pride and arrogance. And and it just really shows the level of immaturity that you really operate in for you to be that distracted. Oh, but now I can get it. Now I do know times where there were pastors that got up and preached and they called out, witches, warlocks in the middle of services and stuff like that. And I do understand there are times where you do have to call certain spirits out. But for you to be that petty to humiliate people and shame them to listen to you, no, God is not pleased at that. God ain't pleased with that. I don't know nowhere in the Bible. Matter of fact, that's a story in the Bible. Paul was somewhere preaching, and the Bible said he was preaching so long, the man was sitting in the window because they ain't have like windows like we do. It was crowded, so he was sitting in the window. And the Bible said Paul was preaching so long, the man fell asleep. But when he fell asleep, he fell out the window, broke his neck, and died. And so they all went out there. Paul prayed, and the man came right back to life. But Paul didn't say, "I'm not going to pray for him." That's what he get because he fell asleep while I was preaching.
yeah, yeah.
We got to stop being so sensitive and so easily. It's like we get so easily intimidated when people don't respond the way that we want them to respond. They may be just, and if they sleep, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go back and listen to the tape anyway.
Or maybe you're boring.
Yeah, maybe you're boring. Maybe they don't want to hear what you got to say. Maybe they saw that you was in your flesh and realized, like, oh, God ain't getting glorified. Let me just take my little nap and call it a day.
It's been a minute since I had to preach, but I can't even say like I notice people talking, being on the phone. It's like you. I am so concentrated on what the Lord wants me, what I study, trying to balance with what I'm hearing. I don't even really have time to pay attention. I may catch a few people's eyes, like who I know will talk back to me or give me some interaction,
Mm,
but I'm not really. I felt bad for that woman, and I always wonder, like, God, I wonder if she came back to church.
I've known people to leave churches because of that. I've known pastors to stop their messages and preach on people because the women wearing lipstick, or they walked in there with pants on, or this person. Just preach. Let the word work. Like,
That's
if
the
you're that
song. Let the
distracted,
word do the work.
your focus was not on God the whole time you was up. Because
Right.
we don't do that. Like, real preachers don't do that.
And then I feel like you will mess around and run into the right one, because I am the right one. You called me out. We're gonna go back and forth until I get me and my baby stuff, because it's gonna take me a minute to pack up, but I'm walking out, and I guess we'll be going
You
back
gonna
and
talk
forth.
trash as you walking out the door.
I sure am. You gonna call me out? You wanna embarrass me?
Yeah,
Okay, let's talk about it then.
And see, that's the problem. We don't. That's the problem where we messed up at, which is why this generation today don't want to listen to the previous generation, because what they saw was humiliation and embarrassment.
Yeah.
We interpreted it as abuse, but they interpreted it as correction. Well, I gotta rebuke them openly. Now, I'm not saying there are times where you do have to rebuke openly. There are times, but there are also times where you don't have to rebuke openly. You can just go to them after the service and, hey, you did a good job today, but next time make sure you such and such, such and such, 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 and give them a formula, or give them a way to, don't just tell them they did wrong, but show them how they can make it right. That's when I think it's abuse. When you just tell them they're wrong, but you don't give them a way to make it right. You just
right. So then not only am I left with the shame of being rebuked, but then I also feel inadequate because I don't even know how to fix it, what to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
We got a question.
Lord, why are you asking all these questions tonight?
Church want to know why the churches ask for so much money. Why do churches ask for so much money when they're not even helping the people in need? Most pastors run people away from church. Do you agree or not? I won't say pastors are running people away from church. The members have a lot to do with it too.
They really do. As far as the money, I mean,
that's a whole nother
topic. We'll stay on topic, Travis.
But
we're not going to be dumb enough and say the church don't need money, because the church do need money. You got to pay for lights, you got to pay for water, you got to pay for maintenance, you got to pay for things to be kept up, and all of this. Have there been pastors that have abused the finances of the church? Absolutely. They got documentaries all on Netflix about
it. They do.
So they have those situations. But when we give, it is not our job as givers, as tithers, to be focusing on what they're doing with the money. Because think about it. A lot of us, before Donald Trump became president, we invested into his empire and didn't even realize his name was behind a whole bunch of stuff. Never be like, well, he didn't give to the needy. He did da-da-da-da-da. Now, just because that particular church may not be giving to the needy and helping the poor, don't mean there's not churches out here that's not doing it. Because I know a lot of, believe it or not, it's a lot of small churches that are doing more ministry than the ones that got the tens of thousands. So don't let the big churches fool you, because there are some small churches in the neighborhoods and in the communities, trust me, I know firsthand, that are doing stuff that churches with 500 to 1,000 members are not even doing. So you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. So don't judge the church at large for that. Just,
Why do preachers feel like we have to come to church just for us to be in the presence of God?
Let me send a text real quick.
I don't think it's not just preachers, Travis. The Bible tells us not to forsake the assembling of ourselves. There is strength in community and having that accountability. It's not just preachers. It's what the word encourages us to do. Sharing the topic so they can ask questions about the topic.
It be your own, don't it? It always be your own.
Yeah, it do. Anyway. I'm trying to think. Have you ever had to rebuke somebody?
Absolutely. Oh, I don't mind.
I'm trying to think.
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have. Besides my children.
But because
somebody in about ministry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. and they
Y'all still
already know
friends?
you got one strike with me to do something, and I would never ask you to do anything again.
Oh yeah.
When we first did the Shakers conference, I'm not going to say this person's name, but we did the Shakers conference the very first year,
I'm
and
see it.
I like to start on time. I like to start church on time. So if I'm telling people 7:30, 7:30. If I'm saying 7:07, so we had it set up from 7:15 to 7:30 was intercessory prayer, and at 7:30 somebody was supposed to be on that in that pulpit doing praise and worship. So this particular person I asked to be there that night, they and then they had the nerve to ask me for an honorarium. But anyway, this particular person I asked to be there that night, they were late. They were very late. They didn't get there till it was like almost 7:45 by the time they got there. And I was like, hold up. Like, wait a minute. So the person that was praying had to keep praying until that person got there. And I was like, oh no. And we had a conversation about it afterwards. And I told him, I said, listen, I appreciate you for coming, but I like to start on time. Well, I said, well, you could have called. You could have said, hey, I'm running behind. Can you get somebody to cover? Like, we're stalling, trying to wait on you. Yeah. And then you want to get up there and hold a whole concert, but you ain't have a 15 minutes. So now you want to be up here. Come on, let's exalt the Lord. No, you should have exalted the Lord at 7:30 when your time was at 7:30 to do what you had to do. So that was one instance. I mean, I've done it a lot of times, and have people gotten offended? Absolutely. But do I care? No.
Ooh, I guess I don't have any kind of problems because I don't have services.
But see, my thing is, this is me. Anybody that has worked with me with ministry events know I turn into like a saved Michael Jackson. I'm very particular about things. I'm very particular about how things, because I want it to look exactly like God showed it to me. And I'm not going to let nobody mess it up. Like, if I ask you to pray, pray. If I ask you, we had a press service one time for Pentecost a couple of years ago. And somebody, I'm not going to call their name, but somebody was praying. I gave the person their topic. They got up there and prayed, and you never prayed on the topic that I gave you. So then after the service, they was like, "Oh, the Lord bless." I said, "Yeah, he bailed you out." What you mean? Well, you never prayed on the topic. I didn't get no topic. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. I said, check your phone. Sure enough. Oh, yeah, you did give me that topic. And what you prayed about had nothing to do with Pentecost. The Bible says, let everything be done in decency and order.
That's what it says.
That's what the words say. So that's just me. And guess what? I didn't ask you to do nothing else after that. I'm serious. I laugh and joke, but when it comes to ministry, I take that very serious. Like,
that's good.
Feed the homeless, and we was walking around downtown to witness and feed the homeless. Somebody came, oh my God, I don't want to do all that walking inside, and I said, well, what did you come for? What did you think this was? This is ministry. We praying with people. We walking. We witnessing. You should have stayed home. So the next time we went to feed the homeless, you weren't invited.
I think this is good for people to hear, because people like you and I have ministries, like we have platforms that we have been tasked with protecting. And so I think it's easy for people to take advantage of our platforms because we're young and they think, so familiar. But it's like, I'm responsible to God for this. So when he's giving me the vision for this, it's my job to carry out this as he's shown me. And I can't have people falling out of line. I get it.
Yeah, you have to protect, when you have a certain level of influence. I mean, mine isn't as big as yours, Glenda, but of influence. But it's funny, I was telling somebody that when we first started the Real Room, I was the one, now it's Glenda. I'd be like, go ahead, keep it going. Sit back here and chill.
I know, I heard you got your word.
Oh, Jesus, no. It was a rare moment. But anyway, but when you have a certain...
You're sitting in the space I was in.
Yeah. Oh, Lord Jesus. Like, okay, I need a break between this one and the next one. But anyway, yeah, you got to protect your things. So sometimes it comes with a level of correction. People may take it as, oh, he's being mean, or he's being arrogant, or he's not, this and that. But I'm sorry, I love God, and I'm not an arrogant person, but I'm also not a pushover. Yeah. And I'm not going to allow you to confuse me being nice and friendly as an outlet for you to think that you can come in and take advantage. I'm more of a straight up person. I don't do all the cold talking and all that. Just tell me what you want straight up, and I can tell you what I can do straight up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. Like I'm not. I don't do all that.
I
I don't
think
do.
that's important for people like us who are entrepreneurs. And then you get a certain platform, of course, like friends and family want to take it, not advantage, but maybe they want to use your platform. And so I think we have to be mindful. Like when I first started, I didn't want to have to rebuke anybody. So I felt myself saying, what do you think we should do? Or whatever you think. Now it's like, I'm being more responsible. The Lord has given me this vision. You can't talk me out of it. And if you are, then I'm not asking you. I don't ask those people anymore to help me with anything who don't understand that I'm not doing this because I even want to do it. If it was up to me, I would not be doing this. So I'm responsible for the vision God has given me, and I don't need anybody to challenge it. But with that said, I also do realize we have the responsibility when people do challenge it. Like I got to say something because I got to let you know this is a line that you can't cross anymore. So
yeah, you got to keep order, and it's I have visited churches, and where the anointing of God really flows and is prevalent, but there's no order there. It's like folk can just get up, grab the mic, say whatever they want to say. Pastor can be in the middle of preaching, somebody can walk through the door. I got a word, and they get them. There's no level of order there, and I'm like, man, somebody. And for people that people pay attention to that, and that's why you got some ministries they just look like a circus, and then they wonder why ain't nobody coming because it's like, que sera, anything happens, whatever will be. So you have to have a level of order because people respect that. It's not that you're trying to control people or make them live their lives, but when it comes to ministry and when it comes to being effective, you have to rebuke. Jesus went into the temple and turned that place upside down because they turned the church into a flea market.
Right.
And he's like, what in the devil are y'all doing in here? I would say he put them all out and flipped the tables over and went off. The only time you ever heard Jesus get that upset was when he went to church.
Woo. I know there's this lady who talks about she used to be a witch. She's not anymore. She's like she's a powerful praise and worship leader and like has the gift of prophecy. But she talks about in the church that she grew up, like it goes back to that order. There were, I think she said there were like 3 women, but because they were older, and I feel like maybe the pastor was younger, he would give them a lot of room to say things. And she said, in hindsight, they were witches. Those 3 older women were witches. And I think in the end, a lot of the people in the church died. Like she made it seem like her family were able to lead the church by the skin of their teeth. But the people who stayed there after a certain season, everybody died. Like the ministry just went under. But I guess maybe pastor didn't want to say anything to these older women who were likely at the church before he became pastor. And he didn't have any order. They were witches, and they were allowed to say certain things over the congregation.
But I think that's why we have to include every generation when it comes to church, because especially if you're a young pastor this day under 40, you cannot exclude your older seasoned members because you need them to help you keep order. Because if you got a church full of young people, you're going to have a very messy church.
Yep.
Extremely messy church because everybody the same age, everybody coming for the same reason, everybody got drama, most of them ain't married, they dating each other, they sleeping with each other, they this that, they got drama, all it's just drama. They don't give, they don't sow, they very critical. So you need some older members to help keep structure and order in your church. And help, because the pastor, honestly, when you got solid members like that, the pastor don't have to do a lot of rebuking because he got older people that can catch stuff before it gets, become a bigger situation. You have that's why you need the mothers in the church. You need the deacons, you need the fathers, you need that. You can't exclude one generation because that generation to help you. Hey, now pastor said that we're going to do it like this, and this is how we're going to do it. Well, I want to do it. No. We're not going to do it your way. We're going to do it like pastor say. You need people like that they keep order in your church because they can't keep down a lot of the drama and the mess and the
Yeah.
foolishness. Yeah, you don't want a daycare, you want a church. So
Right.
yeah, you need that.
Right.
You definitely need that. So I encourage, if there are some young pastors out there that's starting the ministry, don't tell people, don't throw that out your mind. I want me a young church. No, you don't. And
I
you
don't
don't
even
want
want
an
to go
old
to a
church.
church.
You want a
Right.
church where it's balanced and
Yeah.
one generation can serve the next and help the next. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't even want to go to a church where there are no mothers or
Yeah, I
deacons.
think I can do that because y'all aggravating. Jesus.
Yeah. And then you
All
do
right.
see, I mean, I've seen it with your some of your services where other young people do try to take advantage of young
Try.
ministers.
Try.
Yeah. Try to take
They never
advantage.
succeed. Trust me.
Yeah.
They
But
try to.
they would never do that with anybody else, but they try to do it with younger people,
They do.
like
They
trying
try
to get on
to
the stage and just
make it about. This is not. And I think a lot of people that people probably go around and say, "Oh my God, Stanley rude. Stanley, he funny acting, or he don't do me like that." That ain't the case. But it's just when it comes to the things of God, I have to protect what God has given me.
yeah,
And if God ain't tell me to ask you to do praise and worship, I'm not gonna ask you to do praise and worship. God ain't lead me to ask you to preach it. And I learned a lot of that with Shakers. And I grew up with watching my parents in ministry with Bishop Kinsey and watching, Bishop Hall and just observing and watching and it taught me like, no, you don't have to have all that foolishness going on. Do the praise break have to be this long? do the offering have to be this long? Like, what's your motives? What's your purpose behind this stuff? Like, this ain't your time to shine. We
right.
checking all egos at the door. I used to say that all the time with Shaker. So we checking all egos at the door. Like, it ain't even about me. So yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta,
that's good.
because they will. This generation, they definitely. Like I said, I've had some run-ins, and I've dealt with it. And yeah, they got upset with me, and but hey, you wouldn't let me come to your house and do what I want to do.
Nope.
So I'm not gonna allow you to come on in what God has given me and allow you to run rapid. That's not fair. If I can't do to you what you want to do to me, then you shouldn't do it.
What's the best response to open rebuke?
Thank you, and sit down. If it's genuine rebuke and correction to help you be perfected and better, the Bible says that He's given us some apostles, prophets, pastors, all of that for the perfection of the saints. So if God has placed these people in our life to perfect us, then when they rebuke us, we need to tell them thank you, because at least they cared enough to tell us the truth. They could let you stay up there and look like a fool all day and let people keep laughing at you. But because they're concerned about your soul, they're concerned about your gift, then just say thank you and apply it to your life and just don't let it happen again.
So that means the people who pastor let do what they want to do, they're not held accountable. Pastor don't love him.
No, I don't think the pastor is as concerned, because I don't think the pastor is as concerned as he should be. If you're letting your members do whatever they want to do, yeah, you're not really a concerned pastor.
The ones who they don't have to stick to the time limit or the topic or um you know
I
yeah
think that's a
you know
level of
how when pastor has favorites, I guess, and the
yeah,
favorites aren't held
that's a
to the
level of
same standard.
favoritism, because you have those pastors that when it's somebody that's related to them, they get a little bit more advantage than those that are not, or when they have somebody that they're more friends with, they do, and I understand that. But I've learned not to allow that to distract me as an individual that goes to church. I don't, because I'm so, how can I put it? I don't get easily intimidated by people. So things like that don't upset me no more. It used to when I was a lot younger, but as I've grown in the Lord, I don't care less. But I think, is it wrong? I believe it is. But at the end of the day, you got to be fair across the board for
Yeah.
members, because you may be their dad or their mom, but when we're in the house of God, we're all members. So do the favoritism stuff outside. Don't do
Yeah.
it for the people. That's just how I feel about it. But I've definitely seen it happen before. And I've definitely seen people do that before. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Don't let it detour you. Don't let it take your voice away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the thing that we've learned is that open rebuke is necessary
Very
sometimes, but then there is the possibility. Well, there are examples or moments where it can be open shame.
perfect example. That video that went viral of Bishop Patterson when he rebuked that prophet at the convocation.
Sure did.
And had security escort him out.
Sure did. He said, "You are false."
And they shouted on the outlet. Now this is a bad dude. You turned the whole arena up, and they shouted off somebody getting rebuked. Now that right there is what I'm. But Bishop Patterson did it that way because a few years earlier, the man got up and rebuked all of them openly, and said they always gonna drop dead and this and that. So Bishop Patterson rebuked him on the level that he performed. So you performed it, you did it publicly, so now I got to rebuke you publicly. And he did that, and ever since then, you heard about nobody getting up at Memphis in front of all them people doing anything crazy like that.
Oh, he just he said like he came to the altar.
He walked up there and went to speaking in tongues. And 4 years before that, he did the same thing and said, God said that if y'all, because in Church of God in Christ, they have elections every year for general board and presiding bishop. And this particular year, he said, God said, if y'all have the election, all of y'all are going to drop dead. So they went on and had the election. Bishop Patterson got elected as presiding bishop, this and that. 4 years later, he comes back and try to do it. See, the first time, nobody said anything. They just let him do it. The second time, he came down there, and that's why in the video, Bishop Patterson like, is this the same brother?
Yeah.
And he called him out. He said, 4 years ago, you said if we had the election, we all would be dead. He said, and none of us have died since the last election. So he called him out. He said, you are a false prophet. And he said, security, take him out of there. So open rebuke is very necessary.
Yeah.
You got to let them devils know, hey, no, you're not going to come in here and do what you want to do. Because the devil can use anybody that's available. That's why the Bible says we try the spirits. Like that's story, that's scripture in the Bible. If a person will speak in tongues loudly, let it be an interpreter. If they can't interpret, sit down. I ain't got no help tonight.
They love speaking in tongues. It's edifying to you unless there is an interpreter. Then it is edifying to the body.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Then we got to wait on you to finish so we can go on with the service. Everybody sit down. And then in my mind, I'd be like, well, what is the Lord saying? Then they calm you down. Nobody never interpreted what was being said.
My God.
Sit down. That's for you in your prayer closet, in your shower. But see, ain't nobody teaching this stuff like this no more because they not. Because half these pastors now ain't got the Holy Ghost, so they can't teach.
Yeah. But anyway, I've seen people who have that gift of interpretation. They didn't just like bust out with it. I've seen them go to pastor and say something as if they get permission, and then he gives the mic, and then they say what the
it's so you don't see that no more. People just, I got a word. No, you go to the leader and make sure the word. That happened to me one time at the Shakers Conference one year. The Spirit of God came through there. Y'all back in the day, God used to come through them Shakers Conferences. But this particular year, the Spirit of God came through there, and somebody came up to me and asked me, they said, God gave me a word to release over the people. And I was like, okay, so I waited because I'm thinking like, you're going to tell me what the word said. What's the word? So, so I said, so finally after like a couple of seconds, I said, okay, don't worry about it. Like that. So they would have sat down. Right after that, JT, who was on the Real Room last week, he walked up to me and he said, God gave me a word. I hear the Lord saying such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such, such and such. And I gave him the mic. And I said, so I gave him the mic. He said what he said. The presence of God came through the place. God bless. And so after the service, the person told me, but see, that was the same thing I was going to say. I said, but you didn't tell me what the word was. I'm not going to just give you the mic so you can get up there and do what you want to do. No, it's a certain level of order and respect. And what made the difference was the other person understood the order of the service and knew who was in charge, and flowed in a level of respect. And one just wanted the mic just to say what he wanted to say. No, you don't. No, we're not doing that here.
Yeah, and
I may be young, but no, we're not going to do that.
And I think people need to understand that's why Rebuke has to come, because like if I'm over this ministry, I am responsible for these people in a way. Like I'm responsible for what they hear, what they eat, what they get out of this earth, what they experience. The Lord's gonna hold me accountable. So I have to like make sure everything. I have like if you helping me at my events, I don't even want you passing out paper unless we don't talk about it, because I don't know what you're gonna say this is when you walking past or whatever. I have assigned greeters because I am very particular about who I allow to even speak to the women who God entrusts to come to my events. So,
and there are some people that do not care.
Yeah.
Like they purposely want to be on your platform so they can find a way to make it about them. And you got to discern that. You know, these people ask me all the time, why y'all don't let me come in the real room? Because you're messy.
Yeah.
And
that lifestyle don't add up. Yeah.
Exactly. You're not going to come on here on the real room blasting people. Do that on your page. But because your platform isn't as big as somebody else's, you want to come on somebody else's and stir up that. So you're not going to do that here. So for all those that want to come to the real room, no.
That's why.
If you ask us, the answer is no. We ask you. You don't ask.
That's so true. We don't really have people asking us, can they be on the real room? Which I take pride in. I feel like that means that we have protected our platform in such a way where they don't even feel comfortable asking, hey, can I be on the real room?
They've asked me. There are people that have asked me before, and I was kind of like, nah. Because you're not finna do that. Like, then we got to clean up all this stuff you saying, and we're not finna do that. This is not a gossip, church bashing. We don't do all of that on here. So this is not that type of thing. This is really ministry for us. So we can't allow you to come on there. If you cussing all day on Facebook and starting stuff all day on
social,
and then y'all need to bring me to the real room because I can talk about this. No, you don't even listen to the show, but you want to come on the show. Get your butt somewhere and sit down. I almost said something. Holiness caught my tongue just that quick. Get yourself somewhere and sit down. It's the truth, you know. But my thing of it is, because your platform isn't great, or you feel like you want to get on somebody else's, and don't do that. Stop doing that. That's witchcraft. That really is. That's from the pits of hell. Stop it.
Right.
Stop doing that. You got so much to say. Build you a platform and say it.
Right. Don't try to use mine.
Exactly. Like even as preachers, when you around here with these available for booking stuff, and then all you want to do is travel around and rebuke people. No, build you a platform. Stop going to these people churches, flexing your muscles. That is not what you're there for. If you got so much to say about something, y'all don't want to hear me. Okay, well, build you a platform and see if they really want to hear you or not.
I had somebody say the other day, even when you were visiting other people's churches, I never thought about this, but when you've been invited to speak at somebody's church, you shouldn't even be giving messages that like the pastor would give, like messages of rebuke.
I agree with
that. You should leave. So you come in here just strictly encouraging, motivational, evangelistic. You should not be coming to rebuke the people as if you're the pastor done talk, and now you coming in to talk on his behalf to rebuke us.
I remember one time at my church, this was years ago. I was a lot younger, and we was at the Northside location when we had it at the time. And one of the elders called and said, "Hey, can you minister tomorrow?" I was like, "Okay, cool." So then they was like, "Yeah, they'd love for you to minister tomorrow." Great. Then he called back and said, "Hey, I'm letting you know." Was Pastor no bishop yet? He was either bishop or something. He was, well, from what the person told me. They said, you can minister whatever you want to minister, but do not deal with this particular topic. Because at that time, like if you know Bishop Hall, he's always in a series.
Yeah.
So they were saying, don't preach on the series. You preach whatever you want to preach, but stay away, don't deal with that particular topic because he's already dealing with that. Now, I could have easily got offended and be like, you don't tell me what to preach. I'm God. What if the Lord give me a word, this and that? You know how we get. But then I respect that because he's the pastor of that church. And if that's what God is giving him to feed the church, who am I to feel like I'm equal? If God sent me there to sit under that ministry and be fed and taught under that ministry, why would I try to preach what he's preaching, trying to make it seem like I'm equal to him?
Yeah.
That ain't my job.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just say what the Lord has gave me, and then when he get back, then he'll pick up from where he left off at with that particular message. But like I said, a lot of young preachers don't understand this type of stuff because it's not being properly taught to them. And you know, the Bible says we got many teachers, but not many fathers. So we don't have a lot of fathers out there really teaching and sitting down and coaching and mentoring, you know, and showing them this kind of stuff. Yeah, you're anointed, but there's still a certain way that you have to do things, you know. So that's why I'm saying rebuke is very necessary.
Yep.
Very necessary. And I feel like if we saw more rebuke, we wouldn't see so much scandal in the church.
Oh my God.
We did, you know, we wouldn't see so much. Would that make us perfect? No, but it would at least make us conscious of some of the things that we do. So yeah, we got to do a better job at being more open to it. And just people, there are times when people come to me all the time about stuff. Hey, I know you may not want to hear this, but such as that. And if it's the truth, and if it's of God, and if it's sound doctrine, I'll receive it. But if
Yeah.
but if it's somewhere I know you just trying to throw your weight around, I'm like, yeah, my face going on somewhere, you know. So no, yeah, but yeah, we definitely got to rebuke. We don't have to shame a person and embarrassing them and calling them out their name and because I've seen that pastors done cuss members out and over the pulpit called them the A word and all this. I've seen it happen even right here in the beautiful city of Jacksonville. It has happened. I've seen pastors change their whole message and change their sermon to talk about whatever issue they have with one of the members.
Yeah.
That come on now that is wrong. That's abuse. But if a pastor is correcting you because of an action that you did,
Yeah.
that's rebuke and that's necessary. So yeah, just take
Ooh,
it. Tell
child.
God thank you. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do.
A long way to go.
We have any announcements? Can we
Yes,
register?
we do. Yes, we do. September the 23rd and the 24th, we are doing our Young Preachers Weekend event. The flyer will be coming out very soon. Registration for this event it's only $30, and it's a 2-day event, and that also includes your food. That would be at the Beaver Street Enterprise on September the 23rd, 24th. We have some dynamic pastors that will be joining in, seasoned older pastors and ministers, male and female, that will be coming in to talk about different topics. We're going to talk about the mental balance of a preacher. We're going to talk about dress code. We're going to talk about how to carry yourself, how to deal with honor rent. Like we're gonna deal with some stuff. And then
Good.
Saturday we're having a brunch with some of the fathers of our city, honoring some of the fathers that have been in ministry here in Jacksonville that are still allowed to still be with us. That's that Saturday. So, but for both days, the event is only $30 registration. We're gonna have food Friday night, and we're gonna have food Saturday. We're gonna do a big brunch.
That's not enough. That $30 need to be early bird.
Well,
50, at least $50.
oh,
But
now I do have an event coming up that will be $50, and I ain't
oh,
mad.
okay.
This is a nice one because
Okay.
it's ministry and something needs to be done. But mainly the $30 honestly is really going towards your food. So we'll put it up on Eventbrite so y'all can start registering. But it is $30. We're not doing an early bird because $30 is nothing these days. So, but just we want as many young preachers under the age of 40. And if you are a pastor and you're listening and you got young preachers in your church, register
Yeah.
them. Matter of fact, book a table. We don't care. So just bring them. It's going to be a phenomenal event. I promise you all. You all are going to really benefit from this, and it's definitely going to be a blessing. So September the 23rd and 24th. That's a Friday evening from 7 to 9, and then Saturday we're going to be there from 10 to 2 for the brunch, and we're going to ask questions to the fathers. They're going to impart wisdom. There's going to be impartations taking place. Oh my God, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. You don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it.
All
Yeah.
right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you got an event coming up, right? Your retreat.
Just a retreat. Yeah, I only have 2 more spots left if anybody's interested.
Y'all better be living
Um,
holy on this retreat.
of course, we're married or engaged.
So you know, when we going out of town, they be forgetting they married sometimes.
No, we don't.
And they swear it be their husbands that be the ones. It really be the wives.
We do not forget that we're married. It's a bunch of self-care. But we take the long way home on Sunday. We stop by and shop a little bit to take the long way home.
You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We will not have a show next week because next week is Memorial Day. So be safe. But we are nearing the end of the season pretty soon. I guess we just need to pick a date.
Yeah, we real close, y'all, because it's time to grind.
Yeah.
When the season stops, that's when the other stuff starts. So.
Yeah. Other seasons are shifting in our lives. So, but thank y'all so much for tuning in.
We'll do a season finale.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll
thank y'all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We have new episodes that drop on our podcast every Thursday. Until the next time, this is Real Room.
Goodbye.